Our ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
Alfredo, San Diego police, come outside!
I got it.
For the first time, we're seeing what happened moments before San Diego police shot and killed a man who charged at them while carrying a metal rod. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. The scene unfolded 9 days ago in Mountain View. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura tells us police say the man was in mental distress.
Alfredo, San Diego police, come outside!
San Diego police released this body camera video from an officer-involved shooting from the early morning of October 19th. SDPD released 3 different body camera videos, but this shows the most from the incident. You can see officers approaching a home on the 300 block of South Party Street. They see a man outside a home. He appears to have something in his hand as you hear officers tell him to drop it. The man then appears to run at them, and within seconds there are sounds of weapons firing and the man falls to the ground. We are freezing the moment before the man is shot and killed. He's been identified as 39-year-old Jose Alfredo Castro Gutierrez. One officer fired a taser. He's wearing the body camera you're watching. Another officer fired a beanbag round, and a third officer fired a gun. There is also home security cameras that show the incident. You can see from a different angle here the man run at officers before he is shot and falls to the ground. We are again freezing it at the moment before he is shot. Police also released this freeze frame of the body camera video that they say shows the man with the iron rod in his hand. There is an image of the rod they recovered on scene.
That was our Anthony Pura reporting. The family spoke with the Union Tribune. They have hired an attorney and they are planning to file a lawsuit. The attorney told the paper he denounced the use of lethal force, calling it unnecessary, excessive, and unjustified. San Diego police say the incident will be reviewed by the district attorney's office, Internal Affairs, and the Community Review Board. The investigation will also be monitored by federal agencies.
Now to the coronavirus, a local high school temporarily closing just days after it welcomed back students for in-person learning. The decision comes after a rise in COVID-19 cases at Mission Vista High School that forced more than 100 students to quarantine. Last night, the school board approved a new plan to deal with the positive cases. Under that plan, if one school has 2 positive cases in a certain time period, the whole school would have to shift to virtual learning for 14 days.
Very unnerving. It's very unnerving.
Tonight, a teacher at a middle school in Vista is taking us inside her classroom to show us her concerns about the lack of social distancing. In the wake of those positive COVID cases and new rules for Vista Unified, ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen explains why teachers fear the situation is about to get worse.
This is my classroom. It is going to be filled with 34 students.
Welcome to Laura Whitehouse's classroom at Rancho Minerva Middle School. The history teacher has been at the school for 7 years, and for the first time, she is anxious about going to school.
It is frightening. It is frightening.
She says her fears stem from the lack of social distancing. 2 kids sit at each table.
The distance between each table is probably 2 feet. So they're just on top of each other.
Whitehouse says the kids are supposed to wear masks, but she sometimes has to remind them to put them back on and to maintain social distance.
They want to clump together. They want to go to each other's desks.
After a week of in-person learning,
Here's my plexiglass.
Whitehouse on Tuesday received plexiglass for her desk and a HEPA air purifier, but she worries it's not close to being enough. She says there is no cleaning between classes as new students rotate in.
The germs that are accumulating is crazy.
Amid her concerns, at least 4 positive COVID cases in Vista Unified School District, sparking new rules about what will trigger a school to revert to distance learning. Whitehouse, who has asthma, says the new rules don't address what's putting her and her students most at risk.
Very frightened for them.
She's hoping for more cleaning and more hybrid learning to reduce the amount of kids in the classroom.
The fear is that it's going to just continue. It's only going to get worse.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
The teachers union tells us they are preparing a complaint to OSHA on the classroom conditions. In a statement, the district superintendent says $2 million has been spent on PPE and disinfecting machines, and they'll continue to be proactive in terms of safety measures. County leaders say San Diego has no margin for error as we try to avoid more coronavirus restrictions. They say the solution is simple but hard to commit to by everyone to wear masks and socially distance to stop the spread.
Our fight against this pandemic has gone on for a long time, but we've got to keep it up, and we still have a long way to go. This week, across the nation, we've seen a resurgence of coronavirus in many states to the point that some were running out of hospital beds. We don't want that to happen here in San Diego.
County health leaders singled out San Diegans gathering for parties and business, ignoring safety guidelines as reasons we have not been able to move to a lower tier of reopening. And here are the latest numbers for San Diego County. 330 new cases were reported today, bringing our total to 55,540. And there were 4 new deaths, bringing that total to 881.
Around the world, France has announced a full nationwide lockdown because of coronavirus, and Germany is putting a partial 4-week lockdown in place. In the meantime, things continue to get worse here in the U.S. Here's ABC's Marcia Gonzalez.
In most of the country, the coronavirus reaching alarming levels. The number of new cases increasing in 45 states, according to the COVID tracking project, including Wisconsin, which hit a new record of 5,200 new cases in a day. The governor urging people to stay at home.
We are facing an urgent crisis, and there is an imminent risk to you.
12 states reporting record high COVID-19 hospitalizations, with nearly 43,000 patients now being cared for in this country. Among them, Carmen Lerma, who tells ABC affiliate WISN she spent 45 days on a ventilator after contracting the coronavirus and needed a double lung transplant.
It was more of a relief when they took the tubes out of my mouth and I was able to take that deep breath by myself.
Some hospitals overwhelmed, forced to create makeshift facilities to accommodate the influx of patients. Staffing also a major concern.
That's our biggest resource limitation right now is the caregivers. We're not seeing a change in the amount of masks people are wearing or limitations of large public gatherings. And so that's making us very nervous and in some cases pretty scared.
And a scare during last night's World Series.
Breaking news, Justin Turner received a positive COVID test.
Dodgers third baseman Justin Turner pulled from the game after testing positive for COVID-19, then joining his team in celebration after their win, not wearing a mask. Major League Baseball saying his decision put everyone he came in contact with at risk. Meanwhile, Dr. Anthony Fauci saying the pandemic in this country is, quote, getting worse and worse.
I think it will be easily by the end of 2021 and perhaps even into the next year before we start having some semblances of normality.
Marcia Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
New Orleans is bracing for a direct hit from Hurricane Zeta tonight. The Category 2 storm made landfall in Louisiana about 3 hours ago. Zeta picked up strength as it approached the Gulf Coast. Wind speeds have hit 100 miles per hour. The storm surge is also a major concern. Officials say residents from the coast to New Orleans are out of time to get out. Now they have to hunker down.
It's going to be quick, but it's going to be brutal. So these winds are damaging and potentially life-threatening.
Power could be out for days. The storm has triggered a tornado warning along the coasts of Louisiana, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle. The storm is expected to weaken as it moves north and east toward Atlanta.
And already Zeta is actually creating severe weather conditions all the way up to Atlanta. But let me show you where Zeta is right now. You can see it's a very compact storm. So you can see the bands changing color. They go from very dark red to oranges and some heavy rain embedded, but also very strong damaging wind gust. What you see here, all the warnings, tornado watches and warnings in effect extending from New Orleans all the way up to Atlanta. Hurricane Zeta, Category 2, with winds of 100 miles per hour, moving north-northeast at 25 miles per hour. And as it continues making that forward northeasterly movement, is going to continue creating the potential for severe weather, and rainfall can range of up to 6 inches. But the main concern for them tonight is going to be the threat for severe weather and strong damaging winds. Still a hurricane strength storm, so it has the potential to create a lot of damage in its path. It's going to continue moving north all the way up to Washington by the end of the week.
Right, thank you, Angelica. Initially helped by strong winds, the Blue Ridge fire in Yorba Linda is now 16% contained. Crews say it has now burned more than 14,000 acres. It's also destroyed at least one home and damaged 7 others. Nearly 9,000 people are still under evacuation orders. The cause of that fire is under investigation, but crews expect to have it fully contained by November 10th. And thousands of Irvine residents are back in their homes tonight after crews managed to contain 25% of the Silverado fire. Evacuation orders were lifted for the entire city, but many others are still being told to stay away. Tonight, the fire has burned just over 13,000 acres. Improving weather conditions helped crews get a handle on the fire. They say it has not damaged or destroyed any buildings.
Your voice, your vote. With just 6 days before Election Day, new audio is raising fresh questions about how the Trump administration handled the COVID-19 response. This comes as the virus tears through some battleground states as well. Here's ABC's Alex Perchet.
This afternoon, new questions about whether the Trump administration has been politicizing the pandemic response. The president's son-in-law and senior advisor Jared Kushner recorded in an interview with journalist Bob Woodward in April. The audio obtained by CNN in which Kushner says this about President Trump pushing states to reopen.
It was almost like Trump getting the country back from the doctors, right? In the sense that what he now did was, he's going to own the open up.
Today, cases of COVID-19 rising in at least 45 states and most of the battleground states, including Michigan and Wisconsin, places the president won in 2016. Vice President Pence traveling to both states today. A new ABC News Washington Post poll has Biden up 7 points in Michigan and 17 points in Wisconsin. Wisconsin voters also largely disapproving of the president's handling of the coronavirus. The 538 average has the race much closer in the Badger State. Still, it's the Trump campaign's second visit there in as many days. President Trump has repeatedly painted a misleadingly optimistic picture of the pandemic.
We're making the turn. Normal life will fully resume. That's all we want. We want normal life.
Joe Biden in Delaware hitting back.
It seems like he just doesn't care much about it. And the longer he's in charge, the more reckless he gets. It's enough.
Biden also taking a shot at the Trump campaign's handling of a rally in Omaha last night. Hundreds of supporters bussed in, but a traffic jam leaving many stranded on the tarmac in near freezing temperatures for hours after the event ended. At least 30 needing medical attention.
It's an image that captures President Trump's whole approach to this crisis. He gets his photo op and then he gets out.
The Trump campaign saying road closures were to blame and that the campaign works to provide the best guest experience, saying we care about their safety. Just to underscore how important those Midwest states are, the president is headed back to Michigan and Wisconsin on Friday. He'll also visit Minnesota. Joe Biden is headed to Tampa tomorrow. He'll visit Iowa and Wisconsin on Friday. Alex Perchet, ABC News, Washington.
And we now know which senior Trump administration official wrote the scathing anonymous book criticizing the president for a lack of leadership and failing to put the country ahead of his personal gain. Today, Miles Taylor came forward to say that he wrote the book while serving as the Department of Homeland Security's chief of staff. He says he stayed anonymous because he wanted the focus to be on his criticism instead of on his motives. President Trump responded this afternoon saying he's never heard of Taylor, calling him a fraud.